So Richard, obviously you're the chairman of the JC Events Committee.
I am indeed.
Today we've got something a little bit special, haven't we? So a few years ago, I understand you actually passengered this car with the man himself, Tom Walkinshaw.
I did.
And we've got the current owner, Andrew, with the XJR-9R, and we're going to take you out for a few laps around Combe, which I believe is the first time in a few years, isn't it?
First time since I've sat in a passenger seat of a race car, road car, high performance road car, since 1994. But a little bit more about that as we go along, Tom. Yeah, this car, the R9R, was the development car of what most people nowadays call the XJR-15. TWR, at the time, I was marketing director there, reporting into Tom Walkinshaw.
Yeah.
And I'd been with McLaren for 5 years prior to that. Tom made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I joined as marketing director. And R9R was a project that was very successfully designed and built with a combination of very clever engineers. The guy who really headed up the program was a guy who doesn't get the credit he deserves, Andy Morrison, a Scot, who Tom relied on very heavily for projects. And on our little trading estate down in Kidlington in Oxfordshire, we had a number of units. We had Jaguar Sport in one unit, we had the Group C race shop in another, we had Tom's office where Alan Scott, the engine man, had his engine department with Charlie Bamber. And opposite, there was a very small industrial unit that Andy Morrison ran, and Andy was the general manager, or managing director, I think, of TWR SVO, Special Vehicle Operations. And just casually one afternoon, he said to me, come over and have a look at what we're doing. And I went over, and this very tub was sat in the workshop. And the thing that really makes this tub special is if you look at the production run of the 50 XJR-15s, and there's a reason why they became XJR-15 I'll tell you about. This car, when you look inside the tub, it's the only one that's actually got some rivets around the two bonded edges of the actual tub. And when I first saw it, I thought, well, you've got a Group C tub in here, you know, what's this all about? And Andy said, no, this is going to be Tom's vision of having a V12 supercar in composite material. And I went in the workshop, we looked around it, and you know, at that time I still hadn't grasped it. And then Tom said to me, it's going to be V12. I said, what about the 220? He said, oh, don't worry about that, laddie, you know, we'll concentrate on this. And as the car came together over those months, my office was moved from Kidlington, and I went near to Chipping Norton. Tom had an amazing home there, but he also had some offices at the back of it. And I had one of those offices, and I was working late one night, as I did in those days, and I heard this amazing sound outside, and Tom walked in, he said, you're still here then? I said, yeah. He said, there's a wee ride for you waiting outside, eh? And I went outside, and this was parked there with the registration number Tom 4 on it. Now, I'm never sure whether it was registered or whether it just had a number plate stuck on. Oh yeah, I've there's many stories that we won't talk about today. But Tom took me around the lanes of Oxfordshire in it, had no seatbelts in it at the time, and I was just blown away. I couldn't believe the car. And of course what happened was, at the time of all the politics of the XJ220 that became V6, this car being a carbon V12, I've got to say, and Andrew knows this as the owner of the car, who's very kindly made it available to us today, this was the car that 220 should have been. The V12, you know, no power, anything, a racing car for the road. And I'll be honest now, I did a favour with somebody at Autocar, and I leaked a photograph, which I shouldn't have done. But unfortunately for me, the photograph was high resolution for that era, because we're going back to 1990, 3 decades. And of course, when it appeared on the front cover, I think it was Autocar magazine, it had the R9 badge on it. And Tom Walkinshaw, when he was angry, was not a guy that you crossed, you know. And about a week later, I saw this copy fly through my open door, and it was made very plain to me that my lifespan was very limited. And in fact, Jaguar weren't particularly happy at the time. I can imagine. So we had the XJR, we've got, you know, the XJR-9 here, the Le Mans winner from '88, later today, when we go out in this as well, courtesy of Jaguar Heritage Trust. And the XJR badge was running on a number of projects that we had, and Andy Morrison would tell the best story. But in order to placate Jaguar, this became a car for a racing series called the Jaguar Sport Intercontinental Challenge. This being the development car really is very, very special, and I say Andrew's lucky to own it. I don't mean it in that way, because Andrew's obviously invested very heavily in the car to bring it back to what it is today. God knows how much, Andrew, but that's not a question we ask another gentleman. And here it is, and what makes this special was the fact that not only was this the car that did all the groundwork initially, it was also the car that reputedly Tom Walkinshaw had at his wedding. How you do a wedding car in a car like this, I have absolutely no idea, but you get everyone's attention.
Absolutely.
The reason I'm so thrilled to be going with you in it today is a bit of a tragic story in one way, because in my career in Formula 1 and sports cars, I sat with Nicky Lauda, Alan Prost, Ayrton Senna, Martin Brundle took me out at Monza in the actual 1990 winning car. But after Ayrton was killed and I was commercial director at Williams in '94 when we lost him at Imola, I've just never had the desire or a pair big enough to get back into the passenger seat of a car. And as you know, a while ago, I had a bit of a health scare and I just thought to myself, this is crazy. And then Andrew, very, very kindly, a while back said, listen, would you like a ride in the car? And then, I don't know how your conversation took place, Andrew, with Tom, but, the offer was made, and then you very kindly, or Andrew very kindly offered you the chance to drive the car.
Yeah, which I was absolutely honoured about.
Well, your initials are TWR anyway, your name.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And there we are later today. We're going to find ourselves out on track with a TWR R9 that won Le Mans. You as the current, Jaguar Challenge champion. And Andrew's very kindly going to strap us in and explain a bit about the car for what we're going to experience later today. So, for me, it's two things. It's a dream come true to actually go back in the car that Tom took me out in all those years ago, sit next to you, which I've never done, and also to thank Andrew with, from both of us and on behalf of the JEC for entrusting you with the car and me with the passenger seat to let me out there later today.
So should we take it for a spin?
I think we should, but before we do that, I think we should see if I can get in here.
There is a roll bar. It runs
remember the roll
along
page,
the inside there, so that gives you something to grip in, or grip on, I should say. You can stand up on the footwell, get comfortable. You can get your feet in on top of the seat. Bit of an ungainly way of getting in.
And then literally
just edge and
submarine myself down into it. Okay, no, I'm comfortable with that.
There we go.
That's good.
This one, strap over there.
Use your story. 2 shoulder straps and 2 lap straps, yeah?
Centre one there.
Come on, you're young. You're supposed to be able to slide straight in. I'm the old geezer here, I mean, young people are going to be looking at this thinking to themselves, what an opportunity. And I'm thinking it's a miracle I've even got in. It's like going back to a sort of a house or a hotel you haven't seen for years and it hasn't changed. It's just so lovely. I always remember that, the trimming out here. Yeah. And particularly the fact that for you it's probably a bit weird because the steering wheel's this way and your legs are more that way.
Yeah, it's almost like it should be in the centre. But
almost like the McLaren.
To left. Yeah.
The 3-seater McLaren, it's a bit like that. And actually, although I'm a pretty large bloke, if I keep my arm there, you're going to be fine. Right, well, I guess this is enough of a conversation about it, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm in your hands. Andrew, are we all good? You happy?
Yep, I think so.
Okay. Then I guess, Andrew, if you go around the other side, let's get the old girl fired up and see where we go.
We have a set of buttons, a set of switches, and also a master switch,
labelled,
which takes the place of the like a ignition key almost.
Okay.
So you'd fire the ignition on, the injectors on, put it into pumps, and then the pumps, you'll hear the fuel pumps running. So you leave those for a short while.
So 30 seconds, let them build the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely no problem at all.
Something else. I've never, in my early years, I went with virtually everybody, loud around the Nürburgring loads. The psychological thing that was left for me after the Senna thing, I never seeked any help and I should have done. So I've always stayed away from it, but I had a bit of a scare recently and I'm fine now. And it's just made me realise there's certain things, it is emotional for me because, this thing meant a lot. And winning Le Mans and to be behind that.
I mean, it's a once in a lifetime anyway, isn't it? Here we go. a laugh in the helmet.
I'm doing the same. I'm laughing all the way around it. I've got to say, that was something else.
Unbelievable.
That was just something else. I mean, when you're following, what was amazing, when you follow the Group C car, when you're actually sitting back from it before you floored it, you can see right under the tunnels, right under the Venturi. But when we came up late on it on braking, it's just an unbelievable experience.
Bark, don't you? You hear this just coming on, and you can hear.
I just
the
cannot
XJR
believe it. You know, to be there and to see that car, knowing that won Le Mans, and here we are in this.
In the prototype car.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. No, that's one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Was it really?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's very hard to find the words. It's just such an amazing experience. To be behind the Le Mans winner, and you're up on it and you're driving quite hard and fast. It's just phenomenal. And to see the Group C car ahead of you like that, and to have the pleasure of being with Tom in Andrew Maynard's car was, I don't know, I won't sleep tonight. I honestly won't sleep tonight. It's, yeah.
Alright?
Yeah, good man. Just ecstatic.
Absolutely great.
Just ecstatic.
Yeah, no, I can't say I thought I was going to be doing that on a Tuesday.
No, man.
Bring back to reality now.
Oh, mate.
Unbelievable.
Thank you so much.
No, anytime.
Thank you so much. I mean,
it's great to have the opportunity myself. As I was saying, like with my name, the TWR, and yourself, and this car, it's just, and then to throw in a Le Mans car into the mix.
That I just can't believe. In all the years, you know, I've talked about the car, done chats on it, been there, been part of the team in the past, and then you actually get out there in this with that. You can't buy that. There is no money that will buy that.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Surprisingly quick, old girl.
Unbelievable.
It's just that V12
so much torque. When you floored it round the back there, I couldn't believe it. It just literally, it's raw, isn't it? But you know, it brings it all back.
Blowing hot air out here, hot on the carbon fibre.
I remember when that car won in '88, I was still sponsorship coordinator at McLaren, and obviously that was the year with Senna and Prost.
Yeah.
But I remember I wanted to go to Le Mans and I couldn't because we were away, you know, racing F1. And then when I got the chance to join the team in '89, I almost assumed that we would go back, you know, that famous picture of all the cars in Burlington.
Yeah.
I assumed we'd go back in '89 and win, which of course we didn't. We got beaten by Mercedes. And Tom was furious about it. We walked out of the circuit and he was spitting blood. But when we won it in 1990, it's in the space of those 5 laps, it all comes flooding back. It's an emotional roller coaster.
I mean, the look of the back of that car with the Silk Cut clamshell, it just looks. Fellow competitors must have already been beaten looking at the back.
But I'm also sitting here next to the current Jaguar, you know, challenge champion, and I'm thinking to myself, how has this happened? Because truthfully, it's now and it's then, and it's all mixed into one emotion for me.
No, that's great.
Which is fabulous. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Really.
Thank you so much.
No, well, I'll do this one again at any time.